Car Smart! Pete's Car Smart! Pete's Car Smart! Where even the littlest tech tips make a big, big, big difference.
All right, on Pete's Car Smart today, what we're going to do, we're just going to go over a vehicle that I just purchased, and what we're going to do, we're going to use this vehicle as an example for a vehicle that you might want to buy, an old classic car that you might want to purchase to restore. And what do you have to find, what do you have to look for before spending all that hard-earned money on a vehicle to restore? So as we walk up to the truck, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and inspect underneath the truck itself. That's the first thing that you want to do when investing your money in a classic vehicle. You want to check to see how much surface rust, how much rot's on it, and if there's any modifications that the previous owners have made to it, such as these frame rail things here. All right, they probably had a trailer hitch or something added to this. We also see that this pole is going through the frame itself all the way, so that must have been something that they made for it. And you want to kind of visualize inside the fender wells and inside the inner panels and see how much rust is in this. I see that this one here is very clean. I don't see a lot of rust. That makes it a very, very good restorable vehicle. Once you get out of that position, you want to come over here and look down the side of the vehicle. You want to visually look at it to see how wavy the panels are and if there's any visible bodywork or dents that need repaired. And as we walk down the side of this truck bed, I see that being a 1966, this truck bed is in very, very good shape and is very, very restorable. I don't believe that any Bondo has ever been added to this except for these little indentions right here that you see, these little marks. If you look right here, you can see where there was molding. Somebody had filled those in with Bondo at one time. So that's really no big issue, but overall, it's in good shape. Then you want to go straight into the vehicle, and as we're looking at the vehicle, you want to check the door jambs. You want to come up under the door jamb and look at the bottom of the doors. That's very important to watch the bottom of the doors because water and moisture gather underneath, and you want to see if the bottom of the door is rotted out and what kind of work it's going to take to restore that door. Also, as you're looking at the bottom, any factory doors, if you look right here, they're going to have drain holes. Make sure that the drain holes are clear, and if you notice when I do this, you can see dirt falling out, and that's showing me that a sign that this truck is in good shape. The most common places for doors to rust out is right down in this area right here, and if you look real close, you can see that it is a little bit flaky, but it's not rotted all the way through, so this is a very, very good door for restoration. The next thing you want to do once the door is open, you want to go ahead and inspect the floor. If the floor has carpet and insulation on it, you want to go ahead and lift that up and look in the area where rust and water would gather, specifically where the windshield corners are, where the water would run down and into the floor section. We see that this has been patched at one time, but overall this floor is in very, very good shape. I don't see any rotted rust in it, and all I see is mild surface rust. So that makes for a good, solid vehicle to restore. Once the door is shut, you want to go ahead and check the most common places where rust would occur on this vehicle. And to find those answers out, what you would do is your research. You would go ahead and research the vehicle and research where the most common spots are on the particular vehicle that you are interested in. Research the situation and find out where those rust spots would be that would occur on that vehicle that you are interested in buying to restore. So once you've done your research, you want to check those areas that the research has told you to check. And on this particular vehicle, it would be right here in our cab corners. It would be right here on the corners of the doors. If you remember right, I told you that water would gather through the doors. It would gather down through the doors through this area right in here. Okay, and then it would go right down here in the corners. I see that this has a little bit of bubbling right in this area. So we do have some mild rust right here, and I also see a small hole, which is a sign that the cab corner has rust in it. And here's another hole right here. okay? So that does have some minor rust. You want to go ahead and check your rocker panels, not just the outside of them, but also the bottom of them. That's very important. I see that these rocker panels are pretty solid, and this truck is still looking like it's a very good restorable truck. On this vehicle itself, after we did our research, we found out that this area right here on the fenders is a very common place for rust to occur. And I see that this has rust spots. You can see the rust bubbling, telling me that that's going to need a little bit of attention itself. Then we come up to the front fender wells, and if you look inside the fender well, you want to go ahead and inspect it visually to make sure that it doesn't have any very, very hardcore surface rust. This one is very clean. It looks like it will sandblast easily. The frame rails themselves look in very good condition. You want to go ahead and check the suspension and make sure that it's all complete and it's all there. As we walk around the vehicle, you want to go ahead and check your front end parts. You want to make sure that the grill is in good condition. This grill here is in very, very good condition, I would say. The bumper even looks like it's in good condition. As we look at the hood, you don't want to look at the overall section of the hood. You want to go ahead and look at the hood at this angle here, and you want to ride the flatness of it, and you want to see where the dents would be or the imperfections. Hoods are very hard to do bodywork to, and I see that this hood itself is in very good condition and is a durable hood for restoration. And to give you a good example of rotted rust, we have a front end sitting here of the particular truck that's of the same era, and we're going to go ahead and look at that to show you the difference from this truck versus this front end. And if you look at this front end, you're going to see that this core support, this is called a radiator core support area because the radiator would sit in here. You can see that this is rotted out, rusted. The battery box is completely rotted out. That's not in good shape. The inner fender wells look like they're very, very poorly rusted out and extremely unusable. And once again, there's that area I was telling you about where it's very common for these old trucks to rust out. So once you've went ahead and inspected all the body panels and visually checked out upside down, inside out for all the rust and rot that might be present, it's time to go ahead and look in the engine compartment. So you want to go ahead and open the hood, look inside, and we're all doing this as a visual inspection because we're not going to have time to do a 6,000 point check on it. But you want to make sure that everything is complete and everything is intact. And I see that this has a V8 motor. It looks like it has a power brake system on it. It's got the big 4-core radiator, which is nice. And all the frame rails and the sheet metal look like it's in very good shape. While you're looking inside the vehicle itself, you want to go ahead and inspect the wiring. You want to make sure that the wiring is all complete, even though it might need possible change out. When you're inspecting the wire, you want to see how old it is. If you notice, when I move this wire here, you can see that it's cracking and dry. So that's telling me that the whole wire harness in this vehicle is going to need replaced to make it brand new. Make sure you check your glass. Make sure that the factory glass is a restorable piece of glass, that you would be able to reuse that glass. I see that when I inspect this windshield looks like it might have been replaced, and it looks like a brand new windshield. So that's a plus right there. As we go back into the truck, we want to go ahead and check our mechanisms and see if the windows are rolled down. I see that these ones here are gonna need some attention. The window won't roll down, but the door opened very good, telling me that the latches are good. And then finally, last but not least, you want to go ahead and look at all the wiring and inspect that inside the vehicle. And by the looks of this wire harness, it's going to need replaced. So the next time you're out looking at your classic vehicle that you want to restore, before you purchase that vehicle, do an inspection, be thorough, and make sure it's what you really want to do. Unlike this gentleman right here that purchased this car, and it's going to take a lot of restoration to get her done because he didn't think about it and use his common sense and be car smart. This is Pete, my friend Pete, hoping this helped you out because car smart is what it takes to get her done right. Take it easy, my friend Pete, your friend Pete, showing you the tech tips and helping you out to save you money and do it right.
Thanks for watching D.I.Y. Automotive School. Classes don't stop till you know everything.